Welcome back to Combat Sports Weekly. This is the part of the show where we hit the roundtable. Each member of the panel will have 30 seconds to give their thoughts and feelings on one of the hot topics in MMA and boxing. So let's jump right into it. Introducing first, James Lindenmuth, 6'10", the sports animal. When can people catch you? Let them know.
Every Thursday, 5:35, we do our MMA and boxing segment, but you can find the podcasts on the 610 Sports Animal website if you miss it, and you can follow me on Twitter at Lyndon James.
There you go. To his right, Micah Frankel. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been together. Thanks for coming back. Cage Minds MMA. How you doing, man?
Glad to see you. Missed you. Haven't had anybody to argue with.
Did you?
No, yeah.
All right, we'll see. We'll have a lot of arguing today. And of course, Jody Esquivel's back. Do you remember how to do this?
I think so. We
All right.
punch people, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all
Let's
right,
jump
cool.
right into it. I'll go ahead and start with you, Micah. This was big news that kind of took place this week, or I don't know if it necessarily was big news, but it was Jose Aldo, of course, champion of the UFC. He's called for a fighters union. What did you think about that?
About time, probably. Several guys have been talking about it. Ryan Jamo at Power MMA, he's been making a big deal of it, and I've actually heard some interviews with him where he's looking into the legal aspect, what he'd have to do, what positions they need to get people into, and what they would need to do to get this formulated. And thanks to the Reebok deal, this is hot button and needs to be dealt with.
Of course, we had a lawsuit that was filed recently as far as on behalf of a few fighters. So, James, I'll move to you. Would this be a bigger deal if it were an American fighter or a fighter that spoke perfect English?
No, I don't think so. I think that Jose is prominent enough to where this still carries the weight that it should. I'm interested to see the UFC's response to it, to see how they, because at the end of the day, if they feel enough fighters are going to vote in favor of something like this, they could just start cutting people if they felt like it. I mean, it's an ugly reality, but it's a reality. I'm interested to see their response.
Wouldn't that look bad on them though if these guys?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't look good, but I'm not certain it's something that they wouldn't consider.
Jody, you're a fighter yourself. I know right now there's not a weight class for you in the UFC unless you move up to 115. I don't know how you feel about that, but what do you think about, the union?
I think that it is kind of a long time coming, That's really hard. I feel like as a fighter, there should be somebody to stand up for your rights because we just want to fight. That's it. So you're going to say, cool, you're going to pay me 3 and 3, and now this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, but you can't provide me some sort of IRA coverage or health benefits or something like that, then we have a problem. So, I mean, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, and for people out there who didn't know or don't know what he actually said about the Reebok deal, he told Condit, and this was in an article translated by Bloody Elbow, everybody has been talking about it. We athletes are losing a lot. They said, we would be like the NBA or NFL, but that doesn't apply because we're not paid monthly. This is a huge setback for us. We live for each fight. We have to keep fighting, and nobody fights more than 3 times a year, essentially. And, there's a lot of weight to carry in the words that he had, but I think it would be a little more if it were like a Chris Weidman or maybe like a Chuck Liddell, who of course is a company man now, but fortunately,
Randy Couture tried to do this for years, didn't he?
Yeah, we're not there yet. Now, ultimately, he was kind of ran away from it to another organization. We'll jump into the next topic. Carlos Condit with an extremely dominating performance. I think one of the best performances of his career, at least that second round, defeating Thiago Alves. Who would you like to see him fight next?
Damian Maia, I think, is who.
Oh, that's a name I haven't heard.
Damian Maia. They're both top 10 guys, and if you look at what Carlos has been going through as they line him up, it's Rory McDonald, it was Dong Kim, and then Hendricks and Woodley. He had Catman. Every time he gets a striker, then he gets a wrestler. Well, he's fought all the wrestlers. Maia makes a lot of sense. He's a tough grappler. They're both top 10 guys.
I heard Matt Brown versus Tim Means, the winner of that. Would that be too soon for Tim Means to jump all the way up like that?
If he beats Brown, I think it makes a lot of sense.
That would be huge here locally. What are your thoughts?
And call me a homer just because I'm such a huge Carlos fan. I think he deserves a shot at the title. I think he deserves the winner of Lawler and Hendricks. And I'll tell you why. Dana White has come out and publicly said that when John gets reinstated, he's automatically getting a title shot. So why wouldn't that same apply to Carlos? Carlos didn't leave the sport of his own doing. He was injured, and he rehabbed correctly. I think he deserves a shot. I mean, Damian Maia, it's an intriguing fight, but I want to see Carlos fighting for that belt again.
Yeah.
Well, I think that you got to look at Hendricks and Woodley to get the winner of McDonald versus Lawler.
Yeah, and that's a lot of matchups, and
Woodley,
that top
yeah.
of that weight class is pretty loaded. What do you think?
I think Carlos is awesome. I think it was,
Of course you do. Teammate.
He is.
let me just go ahead and say that. I'm just so proud of him.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, definitely coming
Any
back from that
fight,
injury.
any fight that he takes is going to be great. I do think also he's right there at a title shot. He's an extremely intelligent fighter. He's an extremely intelligent person as well. And so I know that like he feels the best that he's ever felt right now. So let's get him in there. Let's get him that title.
Such a dominating second round, but there was a filling out process in that first where I was a little worried because Alves was defending a lot of those shots, those kicks, because he was keeping his hands high. As far as the next opponent, I would love to see him fight, Rory again. If Rory McDonald wins his next fight, I won't be surprised just because of the UFC has a crazy way of doing things. If he needs 2 more wins to ultimately make it to the title, I certainly hope that's not the case because of how dominating he did look. And you mentioned it was an injury that ultimately lost him for Woodley. So hopefully he can rebound with another win and ultimately get that title shot. Boxing. Amir Khan had, kind of an iffy performance early on and did dominate toward the second half of the fight against Chris Algieri this past Friday, not Saturday, not used to saying Friday, but what do you think? Amir Khan versus Floyd Mayweather. Is he ready? Will anyone ever be ready for Floyd Mayweather?
I think he's as ready as anybody out there. He was a little bit of a, shaky early on, as you said, against Algieri, but I think a lot of people don't know how tough Algieri really is. I mean, that's a tough problem, tough puzzle to solve when you're trying to fight a guy in Algieri. So he's as ready as anybody is, and the dollars are there. The name makes sense. You could make arguments for several other guys that they'd be, a better fight for him. But again, at the end of the day, with Floyd, it's about that paper.
Plus, you got the entire United Kingdom that'll likely support Amir Khan, and they're crazy enough to support a guy they know is going to lose. So,
Which is cool. I like it.
of course, Ricky Hatton is the example I'm giving. I love England.
Oh,
but
I love Ricky.
What do you think about the fight?
I think it's
potential of
great.
it?
Who else are we going to throw in there with Floyd right now? Like you said, he's as ready as anybody is going to be right now. And sure, absolutely, get the people behind him and let's make it a boxing match.
It doesn't help that Amir Khan's not bad looking. He's going to have a lot of support from
This is true.
from people. So
This is true.
That's all I
I
had my
support.
girlfriend telling me this weekend we were watching it. He's so hot, and it's like I'm trying to watch the fight. Mike, a little bit of extra time here. Will anyone ever be ready for Floyd? And what do you think of Amir?
I don't know, but I thought Amir, that was a fun fight to watch. And I kind of, conspiracy theory, I'm like, he wanted to come out to prove a point that he was better than Pacquiao and do something to Algieri. Maybe he thought the other way. Maybe I'll make Algieri look better, and then Floyd's going to be tricked into thinking I'm not
that's
as
a good
good.
point.
Or you could even think, look at how much Algieri looked better between the Pacquiao fight to the Khan fight. So maybe it'll bring out the best in him to challenge. I'm not going to buy the pay-per-view either way, but...
See, and Micah stays up like days on end
fight.
getting these crazy thoughts going.
Theories,
you know.
yeah.
Well,
You fight to the level of your opponent, though. I firmly
you definitely
believe.
do. A lot of the
So-
times is what tends to happen. So it's one of those things where Amir was trying to figure him out, and if Virgil Hunter wouldn't have yelled at him, and what was it, the 7th round, I believe,
yeah.
that's when he turned it up, and he did look impressive in the second half. The first half was a little, shaky because Algieri doesn't have that knockout power, and he almost put him on his butt 3 times
Right.
in the first 6 rounds.
Right.
So to your point, Micah, it's possible where Floyd says, you know what, this is going to be the easiest paycheck of my life if I do end up fighting him. Who knows, Amir Khan might step it up another level.
You would hope so.
So, I mean, that fight ultimately might not happen, in September. It's a few months. I know we're going over a little bit, but Khan usually fast during Ramadan around that time, but Ramadan apparently hits a little earlier this year, so he'll have a lot of time to be healthy and be able to fight Floyd.
Absolutely.
We flew through those topics, guys.
I did.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Random fact, and we'll talk about this next week. Aldo is no longer a favorite in his fight against Conor McGregor. So we'll talk about that
That's
next week.
That's a lot of money coming in.
That
though.
is a lot of
Wow.
money coming in. We'll see you guys next week.